The next set of values are the red values, and people expressing their values from the red stage tend to be very egocentric. There's no other way of putting it. Of course, the ego can be good and it can be bad. So on the healthy side, somebody at red can be very, very self-driven. They'll do what they want when they want. They can be quite powerful individuals. They'll certainly be very independent individuals. They'll act when they want, to do what they want, as they want. On the downside, red will be not very interested in your needs. They really won't be thinking very much about you. That's not how they operate. That's not how they're driven. They just don't value other people's feelings as much as their own. They can be quite narcissistic, very self-orientated. They'll often be, if they're quite red and they're quite physical, they'll often be quite gym fanatics. They can be quite fitness fanatics. They'll be quite emotional, erratic, spontaneous. If they feel something or if they believe something, regardless of logic, they'll just say it how it is. So when you're dating somebody in red, it can be very exciting. And I've known quite a number of people, particularly women, who've become very seduced by the red value set because they've got this powerful man. He says what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. It feels like that's going to be a person who could really look after you. But the truth is, ultimately, they may well get bored. They're not particularly interested in looking after or nurturing other than themselves. So in the long term, red can be quite tricky in a relationship. The tip is, if you're dating or married to somebody with a red value set, think of them like a teenager, because that's really how they'll be operating. Quite whimsical, quite stampy foot sometimes when things don't go their way, but lots of fun, very funny, very charismatic often, there'll be lots of character. You'll say about someone in red that they've got a lot of character, got a lot of personality, which can be very endearing, but that's sometimes quite difficult to live with. And if you're socialising with somebody in red, they can be quite dominant in a social scene. And again, that might suit you quite well. You might be someone who likes to sit back, but if you're someone who likes to take the space, be very careful about getting involved with someone at red. And certainly in terms of the long term, red is not the most likely person to stick it for the long term. They may well go off, and it can be quite challenging for somebody married to red. And conflict-wise, it can be very tempestuous. It can be quite a stormy relationship because red will say what they want when they want, and if you can't handle it, it can, on the other hand, of course, become a little bit abusive if you become a little bit victim-y to that relationship. However, on the upside, red will give you lots of fun. You'll feel like you're really living. If you're in red, you know what it's like. You want to live for the moment. It's only now. There's no planning for the future. There'll be no pension schemes. Whatever you want to do now, you'll do it, and life will be a roller coaster in red.